Hello, everybody. Thank you. I'm really glad to be here. I'm really excited about portability in all sense. And we've done a lot of work into that aspect, like our other friends here. And I love to present now. So really at ALIAS, our mission is to make GDPR programmable for developers to reduce cost, increase scalability, and make portability finally possible. We will tell you how we came to this conclusion and how to do it, in our opinion. So a lot of people here have talked about, the potential of personal data. We found this interesting number on Salesforce State of Connected Customer that up to 93% of customers are ready, users, customers, citizens are ready to share personal data as long as it's used in a fair way and in a transparent way, and that brings them a value in their citizen or customer experience. So again, the question could be asked in different ways, but let's say people are okay to share data as long as they are staying in control, right? So the mission of every company now should be to make personal data liquid, easy, and portable for companies and people. So we've worked during the DAPSI project, we've worked hard on the research report that was the base of our technical work. And actually, we interviewed like almost 300 companies. We helped 50 people to take all their data back from all these companies. And we checked what was not working with GDPR portability as it was made today. And we found 6 reasons why it was not working. And of course, many reasons, but gathered into 6. And let's say sometimes, a lot of people here have experienced it. They don't send you your full data because they claim you did not provide it and you provided it, but they don't do that. Sometimes they say they make you wait 3, 4, 5 months. Sometimes they give you data in a non-usable format. So everybody who have tried this stuff knows this, and it's almost the case for everybody. For every company, this is what happens, right? So when we interviewed the DPO of these companies or the IT managers, they told us one thing that looks simple. They said, okay, we are not just really able to do it. Of course, some are maybe hypocrites, but let's say for many companies, they say we're not able to do it. And in the last talent report, up to 70% of public institutions are not able to give your data under 30 days notice. They're just not able to do it. They don't know, they don't have a 360 view of your personal data. So for some big giants, they probably have, and they are hypocrites, but just to say, it's mostly a problem of ability to understand, govern the data internally more than really the willingness to share the data that they don't have, right? So it's I invite you. You can go on the report on www.alias.dev/report. You can see this 9 months research, all the numbers, everything that we found, the interviews and everything, just to say that we also call this report the portability, the forgotten right, because just an example, on 800 fines that has been given by national authorities on data, there is no fine on portability. Article 20 is never mentioned. There have been no fines under 3 years, and nobody respects it. So there is also some issues. So it's a right nobody's afraid of, right? So our conclusion after 6 months of research and building, because in the DAPSI project we have decentralized like OAuth protocols. We've done some stuff that really make portability possible, like our fellow friends before, right? And actually, the conclusion is that yes, they are not able to handle GDPR. They are not able to handle GDPR at scale to know what's the data they have available and how they can deliver it to you, right? So just for the fun story, we published a report last week for the 3rd year of GDPR anniversary. We have been featured on Hacker News, famous, like say, tech online media. We have been on the front page and we have already 70K downloads. So just to say, we put portability beyond expectations. So we're glad on this. But let's say that, the result of this study and the solution we have built is that, everybody knows GDPR is a pain for all stakeholders. We've seen that up to 40% of the compliance budget can be just on legal fees, right? So it can't scale as it's done today. And this is what we identified why portability is not made in many companies. So the only solution is to make GDPR programmable, right? So what does that mean? That means that today GDPR is mostly handled by static documents like Word, Excel documents. And so it can't scale. They don't know at any time where's your data to be able to transfer it to you, right? Of course, they have interoperabilities and stuff, but interoperability can be handled by developers, right? Activity Hub and other stuff like that, like API, middleware. We can handle interoperability. But the thing is that if they don't know what to send you, that's the main problem. Even companies who are in this world who are giving tools for data protection officers to handle GDPR are mostly tools that makes declarative stuff. It's not directly tied to the data, so they know exactly how to transfer the data, where it is, and they can transfer it easily. You know, that's the main reason of these tools. Therefore, DPOs, developers are not involved. And to have full portability, you need to have the data protection officers and the developers in company to work hand in hand to be able to transfer the data and respect regulations, right? And the user. Some people know these numbers. You know, GDPR is not cost a lot, is not respected, and comes across many countries now who are inspired by GDPR. So the problem will be big, and the fines doesn't scare so much, right? Sometimes we found that they mostly are not able to do it. So we think that when law is about the code, code must be the law. The only way for people to respect GDPR portability and GDPR in general is that if we transform GDPR into code, and we will see what does that mean. So we believe that first, DPOs and developer must collaborate. As long as we develop tools only for DPOs and the developers are not involved, it can't work, it can't scale, because developers are the one actually implementing it, are the one actually knowing where is the data, where the database, and what are the hosting providers and everything, right? So we need tools that makes developers and DPO collaborate. And just to before telling you exactly what we have built, I would just say that it was really hard to deploy an application 15 years ago, but when we put infrastructure as code, we developed the DevOps culture that enabled to have, now we can deploy application with few lines of code, right? Then a few years later, we thought, yeah, security is boring. Security is a problem in many companies that slow many projects. But if we put security as code, we call it DevSecOps, we could actually deploy security and make it not a blocker, right? So companies like Screen are doing that. They've just been acquired $500 million recently. So we believe that regulation should be code, right? And we call it the DevRegOps. So we develop API and tools to help developers and DPOs to manage GDPR compliance at scale, especially portability at first, but not only portability. So what do? Our APIs enable developers with DPOs to track all the events of a user lifecycle. When he visits, sign up, log in, open a newsletter, search, fill a card, whatever he does, become a customer, ask for a subject right request. And with all these events which are tracked, we are able to know exactly the GDPR context of every user. So we have 80 GDPR fields that we follow, but every time something happens, we can change the duration, conservation, we can manage the consent, renew the consent and everything. We know exactly at what point the user is in life cycle and what GDPR context is applying here. So just an example, if we take an infrastructure, many companies have personal information instances. Our API enabled to put a GDPR context at close to each of these, right? And for example, if you have a 1 million user in your application who sign up in a specific context, but you know that these contexts are different per country, for example. So let's say half of them comes from Germany, half of them comes from France. Just imagine a new regulation change in Germany. What would happen? Because we have the context of every user, we are able to send notifications that the context have changed. We send it to DPOs, to developers, thanks to our APIs. And like this, you can monitor really your GDPR compliance as if it was code, because you are able to make requests, queries, like as much as you want, right? And you can update context. So for these ones, for example, the French will have maybe 1 year extra. The German will not have a 1 year extra conservation in this case. You may need to ask the consent again to the German here in red, where the French one, you can still wait 1 year. So this is really the way to manage GDPR directly in the IT system. So our end goal is really to be the GDPR compliance unit test, as we call it, to answer, for everybody to be able to answer in the company, is this personal information, personal identifiable information GDPR compliant? Can we use it? And like this, when you want to deploy an application, you have a notification to say, look, yes, the purpose is right, so you can use it, or the purpose cannot be right for this application and for this country. Okay, you cannot use it directly, right? So this is the DevRegOps approach, putting regulation as a way to be tested at any time in the applications to be sure that you're compliant by design when you go in production. So we're building these APIs. We just released the first one. It's a search engine for data conservation, duration, purpose, and portability. You can go it's for French DPOs for now only, on durée de conservation.fr. And like this, you can have already a search engine with an accessible API to handle data conservation duration as a piece of code that you can integrate in your system. We're doing more for subprocessors and others right now to be sure that GDPR can be handled like this. People already back us, like INRIA, the French national, let's say, IT lab, and DAPSI, of course. And we raised a seed round with ALIAS and ALIAS partners and angels. And the founders of ALIAS are the part of API Days community and founders of the API Days conference series and part of my data as a steering room member.
Please conclude.
Yeah, that's the conclusion. Just to say, we are now a team of 4 jurists in PhD in law and 4 developers. We are hiring to make GDPR and portability programmable. And yes, that's what we built thanks to DAPSI. Without DAPSI, it would have been a lot more harder to start a company like that. Thank you very much.